Good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss about continuing education. The background of the continuing education will be discussed. Then definition and meaning of continuing education को discuss करेंगे. फिर after that कि continuing education के needs क्या है? That means कि understand the condition necessary for the success of continuing education. Then describe the status of the ongoing continuing education schemes, and then understand the emerging trend of education that is towards a learning society. Continuing education, that means education is a continuous process taking place throughout the life of an individual. It is not confined to pre-specified times and places, but happens whenever a person reflects on the current situations, resolve to address a problem, to share an idea, or to gain an understanding. As the knowledge and skills enable the people to prosper throughout a lifetime, people will need continually to enhance their abilities in order to address immediate problem and to participate in a process of continuing education and professional development. Life itself is a continuous learning process, but education, both general and vocational, throughout life enables an individual to achieve his fullest potential for development. However, literacy is a catalyst for participation in social, cultural, political, and economic activities and for learning throughout life. Further, continuing education can provide educational facilities for all citizens to integrate learning, working, and living. These three aspects of personal development must grow together so that overall quality of life improves and so that society as a whole becomes truly an educated society in the best meaning of the term. Continuing education is one which occurs beyond initial education. This is a lifelong process of learning for human resource development and ultimately to achieve better quality of life. Continuing education is a lifelong process, the self-fulfillment of an urge to keep pace with the development in one's professional life. It is a necessity rather than a luxury to maintain our competitive and globalized economy. Recognizing the need, a multiplicity of institutions are providing institutionalized mechanism for continuing education. They include government, universities, higher educational institutions, professional associations or organizations, employers and independent or private agencies, open or distance education institutions, etc. There are different facilitators for encouraging continuing education. They include money incentives, flexible study mode, provision of job positions, provision of study leave, flexibility of course structures, etc. The efficacy of a program rests upon factors like provision of learning opportunities, awareness about facilities, availability, selection and training of personnel, adoption of suitable teaching methods, integration with development scheme, collaboration with government and non-government organizations, including universities, and of course, adequate funding. It's easy to make someone literate, but to sustain literacy is difficult. Therefore, Organization of post-literacy and continuing education is very important to sustain literacy and to enhance it further. During the last 20 years, total literacy and post-literacy campaigns have been implemented by the government in several districts throughout the country. As a follow-up, the government launched a continuing education scheme for neo-literates, which was launched in January 1996 as a third phase of National Literacy Mission. Continuing education centers are established by the government to enable neo-literates to retain, improve, and apply their basic knowledge and skills in fulfilling their day-to-day needs and aspirations. These centers are functioning as centers of activity related to education in the village. A CEC, continuing education centers, has to establish working relationship with NFE, open school, primary school, etc., which are functioning in the village. Continuing education centers also organize diversified vocational and life enrichment programs on a part-time and short-term basis for the new literates and other general public. Now, we are discussing about the concept, need, and importance of continuing education. Continuing education, the term signifies providing opportunities for learning throughout the life to help individuals in order to extend initial study, update knowledge and skills, and undertake career development or change according to environment and need. The term continuing education can be defined as follows according to Dr. Mohan Sinha Mehta, an eminent protagonist and pathfinder in the field of continuing education, brought out the idea of continuing education in the following words. The air we breathe in our university, the language we speak, the ideals we pursue, and the thoughts which guide us in our work of teaching, learning, and research should be related to our backgrounds, our way of life, our classics, and our code of ethics. We should readily learn and receive new and true knowledge from everybody and everywhere. At the same time, we should not neglect or disregard our treasures. The Web Online Dictionary defines continuing education is a term often used to suggest the idea that education is a process not completed. This term is most often used by colleges and universities in describing their extension and adult education activities. The term is sometimes broadened to cover any situations where the person is moving on, particularly within the more formal credential related aspect of education. From the above definition, it is clear that continuing education consists of all learning activities and efforts by which individuals seek to upgrade their knowledge, attitudes, competencies, and understanding in their special field of work or role in order to deliver quality performance in the work setting and enrich their career. Then we are discussing about the in another words, continuing education by definition is the provision of opportunities for people to continue their learning. This implies that if continuing education is to facilitate the development of a learning society, then society must provide a rich educational environment with a wide range of diverse resources and opportunities for learning. not only through the formal systems but also through the informal education sectors. Continuing education not only depends on literacy skills of people, it also rests on the provision of resources and opportunities for further learning. The richer and more diversified the learning environment, the greater will be the opportunity for continuing education. The non-formal systems can play an important role in this regard. Continuing education can utilize non-formal education procedures, but the two are not the same. The non-formal systems is an alternative provision to help educationally deprived adults reach standards that are equivalent to those in the formal systems. But continuing education is a provision for lifelong learning education. Continuing education is an indispensable aspect of the strategy of human resource development. The goal of a learning society is continuing education, which includes post-literacy for neo-literates and school dropouts, and for retention of literacy skills and continuous of learning. Need and importance of continuing education. Continuing education is a process by which lifelong needs of the individuals are achieved. There is a need to learn continuously throughout life, either for continuous replenishment of knowledge, for intellectual satisfaction, for personal and professional progress, for gaining experience, or for the effective discharge of civic function. The purpose of continuing education are enumerated as follows: to consolidate and stabilize the skills gained by semi-literates and neo-literates so that they become adequately functional literates, to create a scope for application of functional literacy in meeting the day-to-day needs of social intercourse, to disseminate information on developmental programs so as to ensure the participation of people in these programs, to create awareness about national concerns such as national integration, conservation and improvement of the environment, women's equality, observance of small family norms, etc., and to organize short duration training program and orientation courses for providing vocational skills for improving productivity and economic status of the people. Continuing education is needed for the following purpose, according to Reddy 2006: to upgrade levels of living through a process, improving knowledge, skills, better understanding of work enrichment and world of work, to produce trained manpower and to bring about full and optimum development of human resources, to cater to the felt needs of all sections of the society with particular reference to the needs of less privileged and underprivileged sections, to provide ample opportunity to engage in continuing lifelong learning, to improve the living condition of marginalized and deprived section of the society, to meet the new challenges emerging every day in today's world of unprecedented scientific discoveries, to realize the unlimited human potential for development in social, local, national, and global context, to expand the people's intellectual thinking, to develop a meaningful understanding of social conditions and social structures, to improve occupational proficiencies in order to enhance career development, and to create civic awareness and community service. Scope of continuing education. The Continuing education programs and allied activities have a very wide scope. These programs cover all aspects of life, catering to all sections of society, as well as the national priorities areas such as education for out of school youth, population, health, nutrition, family life, and environmental education for the masses, science and technologies, professional education in the fields of law, medicine, agriculture, engineering, human relation, etc. Special programs for women, workers, farmers, doctors, engineers, and special interest groups. Continuing education programs cater to various clientele groups of learners. The clientele groups range from the least advanced to the most advanced in any walk of life. The clientele may be out of school youth, school dropouts, educated unemployed, skilled youth, professionals, semi skilled workers, women's groups, occupational groups, etc. Types of continuing education programs, unless there are systematic programs of continuing education for different categories, there is a little scope for a learning society. The following continuing education programs are suggestive for different categories of neo-literates whose needs are varied. Post-literacy and remedial programs for neo-literates and semi-literates. General basic education programs for rural and urban communities. Developmental types of programs for workers, parents, housewives, husbands, etc. Employment-oriented programs for unemployed youth. Future-oriented programs for workers, professionals, business leaders, villagers, etc. Basic vocational programs for rural and urban communities. Post-literacy and remedial programs. Learners who have reached a certain level or a grade equivalent level within a literacy campaign often fail to proceed beyond that grade, lose skills and knowledge, and relapse into illiteracy. Under continuing education, post-literacy and remedial programs should be organized to stabilize and strengthen the literacy skills of semi-literates and neo-literates. These programs are aimed at the maintenance of basic literacy, numeracy, and computation skills, enabling individuals to function effectively in the society. And second one is general basic education programs. Rural people need more general but still basic education programs. These programs could be in areas or subjects such as population education, health, the work environment, food production and storage, farm management, alternative occupation for rural workers. But the urban communities need to be trained in industrial relations and the impact of city life on the home and family. And third one is developmental types of programs. Programs concerned only with reading, writing, and calculating for their own sake have little meaning. Hence, the emphasis is on functional literacy, which helps the development of traditional literacy skills and ensures that such development occurs in areas reflecting socio-economic and cultural needs of the learners. Thus, the developmental programs should build both technical skills and functional knowledge. The development of one aspect add to the development of the other. These developmental continuing education programs are aimed at imparting individuals greater capacities as workers, parents, housewives, husbands, and community members, and second, giving individuals opportunity to participate in and learn about their children's social, cultural, spiritual, health, physical, artistic interests. Employment oriented programs. The learners who have had some basic literacy but are unemployed because they lack sufficient skills for employment, need employment oriented training. Continuing education programs should be available for such people to acquire the required skills for employment. Hence, employment oriented programs should be organized under continuing education for the neo-literate unemployed. And fifth point is future oriented course. These programs endeavor to give new skills, knowledge, and techniques to workers, professionals, business leaders, villagers, businessmen, and planners to equip them and their organization for the growing social and technological changes. And sixth one is basic vocational programs. These programs are required for rural and urban communities. These could include carpentry, computer awareness, engine maintenance, plumbing, garment making, food preparation, and crafts. Communities need to develop for consultative planning and decision making that involve all categories of citizens. Only in this way, a society which is functioning as a learning society can deal with crisis and develop alternative strategies. Methods and media used for continuing education. Continuing education is a complex, extensive, and most varied program of learning. In order to make continuing education program more effective, it must be flexible, learner-oriented, diversified in method and content, non-authoritarian and based on learners' needs and interests. All continuing education courses, particularly the courses leading to a degree, diploma, or certificate, a lot of independent study activity. However, occasional tutorials, lectures, discussion, study tours, etc. are a part of such courses. On the other hand, courses not leading to a degree or certificate rely on methods such as extension lectures, seminars, conferences, symposia, forums, etc. All continuing education courses, that is, open university courses, correspondence courses, extramural studies, and other programs involve some reading, project work, and independent study. Continuing education agencies may use a wide range of media and learning resources. Some of these could be particularly suitable for the neo-literates, and others may be deliberately focused on development of higher levels of functions and skills. Providers of continuing education. The delivery of continuing education is carried out by a multiplicity of institutions which are given below. Universities or higher education institutions, colleges, evening colleges, correspondence institutions, adult continuing educations, and extension departments. Open universities or distance education institutions such as national, state open universities, state open schools, and National Institute of Open Schooling. Government departments or agencies like Adult and Continuing Education, Jan Shikshan Sansthan, Mahila Samakhya, and Community polytechnics. Professional associations or organizations, national, state, and local level. Employers, employment settings such as business firms, social agencies, hospitals, hotels, banks. Trade unions, member education sponsors certificates or degree programs. Non-governmental organizations or foundations, profit or business motives, cooperative self-help groups, philanthropic and social organizations. Independent or private agencies, pre-service training institutions, in-service training institutes, and mass media agencies such as radio, TV, film, press, and ICTs. Conditions necessary for the success of continuing education. According to data 1997, the following conditions are necessary for the success of continuing education. First one is literate society. Literacy is the basis for continuing education. It is true that unless people are literate, they cannot engage in continuing education. Further, literacy skills achieved at the conclusion of a basic literacy or post-literacy program are insufficient for meaningful lifelong learning. And the more advanced literacy skills need to be developed to make the continuing education phase more effective. Once the advanced literacy skills have been achieved, there must be opportunity for continuing education. Awareness among the community people. A lack of awareness is, of course, the reason that continuing education generally has a low priority. Hence, all people in the community need to be made aware that resources spent on literacy programs would be wasted. People do not take advantage of the opportunities afforded by continuing education programs. Only by increasing awareness of the significance of continuing education in personal and national development can the link between literacy and development be appreciated. And third one is provision of learning opportunities for continuing education. In a true learning society, sufficient learning opportunities should be available to all the learners who choose to undertake a range of programs to meet their personal needs. Hence, systematic learning opportunities should be provided in the continuing education centers to bring maximum gain to the new literates. And next, fourth one is training of continuing educators. Systematic training of continuing educators is needed with constant coordination between all the agencies involved. Continuing education as a newly emerging profession is to become profoundly important, and training in this field must meet the highest standards. Adoption of suitable teaching methods. It is generally appreciated that adults have different styles of learning from school children, and these styles must be catered for using appropriate teaching methodology. In particular, non-formal learning involves generalized learning, whereas the competencies required by adults are specific to particular situations. The training methods such as self-instructions, group work, role play, simulation, etc., are generally appropriate for adults engaged in continuing education. And the sixth one is integration of continuing education with development. To make continuing education more effective, these programs should be integrated with the developmental programs and institutions so that the learners of continuing education could utilize the development programs and improve their quality of life. Funding and resources. To design and implement different continuing education programs and implement sufficient funds and resources are needed. Hence, the fund need to be mobilized from the government and non-governmental organization by submitting systematic proposal for continuing education. Now, delivery modes of continuing education programs. That means in the previous sections, we discussed about what are the continuing education programs, particularly in place through LIS professionals. Why are these needed for, and what are its objectives? Now, it is important to discuss the different kinds of delivery modes of continuing education programs through which the professional can acquire many skills, knowledge, professional strength, latest development in field, etc. As far as the delivery modes are concerned, there are some possible ways to deliver the programs, either through formal education or informal education, effectively and lively interactive. First one is traditional modes. You may be already aware of the traditional methods followed by the universities, colleges, professional associations to deliver continuing education programs for professionals to keep the knowledge up to date. The traditional methods include, but not limited to the following, that is, seminar and conferences, workshop, symposia, colloquium, special lectures, induction or orientation program, reading professional literature, exhibitions, and discussion forums. And second is teleconferencing. Teleconferencing as a delivery mode of continuing education program is gaining momentum over years in delivering the contents through interactive audio, interactive video, etc. Teleconferencing means as a networking technique whereby the individual or groups of the people in different locations can interact with electronic medium, that is telephone lines. This medium is extensively used by the organization which offers the programs formal and informal through distance mode to deliver the contents. Similarly, this medium can also be used for seminars, conferences, workshops, etc. For instance, apart from classroom counseling, teleconferencing is one of the first and foremost media used in IGNOU to deliver content through the satellite. It enhances the audience from any corner of the country to interact with the resource persons live. The Faculty of Library and Information Science organize, organizes 3 to 4 sessions every month, especially for LAS students of IGNOU, and clarifies them. And they are the questions asked by the audience. These may be utilized by others also. Types of teleconferencing are there are 5 types of teleconferencing as mentioned. First one is basic audio conferencing. It is a voice only communication. It uses various equipment options to transmit the voice in order to reach the audience group. A conference telephone calls is the simplest form of audio teleconferencing that allows multi-point communication among individuals and groups. Enhanced video conference. This type of teleconferencing combines much of the flexibility and economy of audio conferencing with video so as to convey important graphic information for easy understanding of the concept, which is generally difficult. And next, third one is one-way video with two-way audio conferencing. In this type, the video is transmitted in one direction only, with voice interaction transmitted through a two-way audio channel. And fourth one is two-way video conferencing. In this type, both the audio and video are transmitted in both directions. It is possible that the participants may see and be seen as well as hear, and be heard during the teleconferences. And fifth one is computer conferencing. In this type, the text to be sent to a person is entered at the keyboard by the originator and displayed on a screen or printed on the paper for the recipient. Computer conferencing is familiar mode of communicating for email, chatting, etc. Advantages of teleconferencing are there are some advantages of teleconferencing are it is interactive between the people. The message can be sent instantly. All participants can hear and see the message directly from the sources. It is easily accessible as close as a telephone or a room down the hall, allowing participation from any location. It reaches a large section of people who are coming distance like that. Next, online delivery. Nowadays, due to the advent of information communication technology and World Wide Web, the online delivery of the program is gaining popularly in each and every field all over the world. It is also a fact that it has become more convenient, suitable, feasible, and successful medium for the professionals who want to keep themselves abreast of the latest developments in their own field of specialization. Online delivery presupposes to structure, design, evaluate, and improve the content of the particular program or event, make the content available online, which can be accessible worldwide. A vast amount of learning information, vice versa, e-tutorials on a specific topic, open source software for library management systems, OSS for digital library management, and the like are available online either on payment or free of cost. These sources can be used by any individual at any time from any place. For example, Anne Brenton and Eppington Geffen developed an interactive online e-tutorial for Mark 21 and made it available online free of cost for the benefits of LIS professionals who want to know more about Mark 21. Advantages of online delivery. The main advantages of online delivery mode of continuing education programs are the course to be delivered can be tailored to the requirements of the learners. The study materials can always be made available for the learners. The standard of the study material provided is fairly good as the material is planned, designed, and prepared by the experts in the field. It allows the learners to undertake course at their own pace of time and place. It supports the high-level interaction for the learner with the teacher and peer group through emails, discussion forums, chat sessions, web conferencing, etc. It makes feasible for the learners to pursue these courses alongside their normal job. Role of national agencies for continuing education programs. It is important to be aware of the agencies that offer the continuing education programs for library and information professionals. The following are the some of the such agencies that plays a vital role in designing and conducting multiple programs. First one is library and information science schools. Second one is professional associations, and third one is national organization, and fourth one is libraries. Library and information science schools is recognized as a discipline for study and research at the postgraduate level in the universities. In India, there are about 167 universities and their affiliated colleges institutes which conducts programs in library and information sciences. At bachelor degree level, the courses are available at 87 universities or colleges. At master's levels, 89 universities and colleges. At PhD level, 49 universities, that is full time. The third three universities, that is part time. At certificate and diploma levels, 14 universities and 18 colleges. Apart from offering the formal courses, these departments get periodically involved in conducting continuing education programs, seminars, conferences, workshops, summer schools, refresher courses, invited talks, etc. in the emerging areas in the field. This would help the professional to sharpen and broaden their knowledge and skills in order to meet the challenges in the competitive changing world. Professional associations. There are a number of professional associations in LIS in India at different levels, such as district, state, and national levels. Some of these associations, like Indian Library Associations, Indian Association of Special Libraries and Information Centers, Indian Association of Teachers in Library and Information Centers, etc., take special interest in providing career development skills by offering continuing education programs in the form of annual conferences, seminars, workshops, study circles, short-term courses, etc. on the regular basis. National organization, apart from library schools and professional associations, some of the important government and national organizations like National Institute of Science Communication and Information Resources, New Delhi, National Social Science Documentation Centers, Indian National Science Academy, Defense Scientific Information and Documentation Center, National Center for Science Information, etc. Also organize workshops, seminars, study circles for professionals from different parts of the country. The advanced and the relevant topics are covered through these programs. Libraries. As the libraries are responsible for providing quality and improved services to different categories of users, it is important that the staff of libraries be aware of the latest developments which can be implemented in libraries to promote the existing services. In this regard, according to SETI, suggested the following to train the staff in universities library. Hold weekend study groups within the library to discuss new literature or new developments in the library. Invite faculty members of the university to speak to the library staff to develop their exhibits. Conduct user studies and user education programs. Sponsor staff for short-term as well as full-time training courses. And depute staff to various seminars, conferences, and workshops, and exchange staffs with other academic and research libraries for short duration and for specific thrust areas for continuing education programs. In the ninth part, this suggests the following as thrust areas of continuing education program in general: development of vocational skills and professional competencies among technical, marginal, and professional, industrial, and unemployed youth through in-service programs. Arrangement for remedial and bridge hostels and programs for students from urban slums, rural slum area, tribal areas, handicapped, and other weaker sections. Conduct pre-examination training and entry to professional and technical courses. Promotion of activities for general self-employment and self-reliance. Identification and organization of needs-based instructional programs for community development. And training and extension packages for functionaries of various social development programs such as population education, legal literacy, science for the people, environmental education, rural development, peace education, etc. It is also important, particularly to list out the topics that may be useful to the library information systems professionals. The following are the some of the areas which are relevant in the present context to be kept in mind while conducting continuing education programs. Creation of database for books and series. Handling of e-books, e-journals, CD-ROM database, DVD, etc. Working in different models of library automation packages. Computerized information services. Creation of information in different formats like microform, CD-ROM, DVD, etc. Multimedia and web-based content development. Electronic newspaper clipping services. Online reference and information sources and service through www. Designing of interface for online information sources and services. Developing digital library systems. Organization of digitized materials. Creation of metadata. Process of digitization. Open and institutional repositories. Accessing open source software for library management as well as digital library. Copyright or intellectual property right issues. Networking of libraries. Forming e-consortia. Total quality management. Decision support systems and user studies. Now, we are discussing about present status of continuing education program. While total literacy campaigns provide a uniform educational content for all sections of the society, continuing education contain diverse and alternative programs which would be suitable for a wide cross sections of the people, such as neo-literates and semi-literates seeking to continue their education. School dropouts and pass-outs seeking to achieve equivalence with formal education. Other persons in the community seeking to enhance their vocational functional skills, etc. Continuing education programs would have to be tuned to the felt needs and demands of the specific groups of neo-literates, taking into account their local conditions and resources. National Literacy Mission had launched a scheme of continuing education for non-literates in December 1995, cater to the continuing education needs of millions of neo-literates emerging from successful completion of literacy campaigns in several districts all over India. Continuing education programs under the scheme are taken up only in those districts which have completed both the TLC and PLC phases and the external evaluation of the TLC has. The main objectives of the scheme is to institutionalize continuing education for neo-literates and to provide diversified programs suited to their felt needs. Under this scheme, the Jila Saksharta Samiti has been given considerable freedom to develop its own program depending upon the prevailing socio-economic conditions, the needs of neo-literates, the resources available, etc. Establishing of continuing education centers is the principal mode of implementing the C program. The scheme aims at providing an institutionalized mechanism for continuing education centers to enable the neo-literates to retain, improve, and apply their basic knowledge and skills in fulfilling their needs and aspirations. The main functions of continuing education centers or nodal continuing educations are as follows. Facilities for library and reading room for creation of an environment conducive to literacy and also for creating a learning society. Provision of facilities for retention of literacy skills and continuing education to enable learners to learn beyond basic literacy. Creating a scope for application of functional literacy for improvement in living conditions, and quality of life of the people. Imparting, imparting literacy skills to residual non-literates, semi-literates, dropouts, etc. Dissemination of information on developmental programs or schemes by establishing direct linkages between continuing education and development programs, and also widening the scope for participation of traditionally deprived sections of the society in such programs. Creation of awareness on the issues of national concern, such as national integration, health and hygiene, conservation and improvement of environment, observation and improvement of environment, observance of the small family norm, etc. Improvement in economic conditions and general well-being of people community by organizing short duration training programs, orientation courses, and providing vocational skills. Organization of cultural and recreational activities with effective community participations. One continuing education program is set up for a population of 2002 to 2500. For a group of about 10 to 15 CSE, there is a nodal CSE which is monitored and oversees the activities of a cluster of CSE. Besides organizing the CECs, it also provides the opportunity to undertake diverse activities involving alternative and innovative approaches to cater to the needs of continuing education learners. Target specific and local specific activities such as equivalency programs, quality of life improvement programs, income generating programs, and individual interest promotion programs could be organized for the beneficiary of the program. The main function of the CEC would include organizing a library and a reading room, conducting a learning center or training center, and an information center, organizing a chacha mandal, and cultural or sports activities. These responsibilities of the CEC Direct include organizing the CC in such a way so as to enable diversified learners to utilize the facilities to the maximum, to monitor the new literates' progress and arrange a supply of reading materials to keep up with their needs, to organize simple and short-term programs related to subjects like health and family welfare, new developments in agriculture and veterinary science, conservation of energy, etc. To help interest learners to join in schools organized by National Open School or State Open School Society. The pre-RAC also has responsibility of helping people gain vocational training by promoting linkages with development departments, conduct sports, games, recreational and cultural activities, equip the community with essential knowledge to help them improve their equality, quality of life, and secure the service of the various functionaries of the departments of the village. It is essential that training of continuing educators be maintained with constant coordination between all agencies involved in the training program. Revised scheme of continuing education. As stated above, NLM started the scheme of continuing education in 1985 as a fully funded centrally sponsored scheme. The structure of continuing education program will be retained and further strengthened and expanded in scope, content, NLM 2007. The scheme insisted 100% assistance to the state for the first 3 years of the implementation. The state governments were required to share 50% of the expenditure during the fourth and fifth year of the project, and thereafter take over the total responsibilities for the program. As a part of the revamped strategy of the National Literacy Mission, during the 11th plan, the continuing education program will be restructured and merged with Jan Shiksha Abhiyan to provide follow-up to the neo-literates through library and reading room facilities in the second and third year of the campaign. The Panchayati Raj institution would be approached to provide accommodation and other support. Convergence with other development programs will be attempted to make literacy visible, linked to issues affecting the daily needs of the life of a non-literate and aid in enrollment and retention. Under the revised scheme, a continuing education center will be set up for a population of 2,000 to 2,500 so that it caters to the needs of at least 500 to 1,000 neo-literates. A nodal continuing education will be set up for a cluster of 10 to 15 continuing education centers. The function of imparting basic literacy and transaction of literacy primers would be continued in the continuing special phase. The activity of teaching learning for basic literacy would be available not only to dropouts and left out, but also to new illiterate entertainers in the age group 15 to 35. The scheme will continue to be implemented by the Jila Saksharta Samiti headed by the district collector. However, the Jila Saksharta Samiti may also be headed by a democratically elected chairman of the Jila Parishad in states where a fully fledged Panchayati Raj system has been established. The implementing agencies, voluntary agencies, Mahila Mandals, Panchayati Raj institutions, Nehru Yuva Camps, etc. for organizing continuing education centers. For model continuing education centers will be identified by the Jila Saksharta Samiti. The scheme also envisages convergence with the programs of Nehru Yuva Camp, National Services Scheme, National Frontier Schemes, etc. at the grassroots levels. The infrastructures of these institutions will, as far as possible, be utilized to facilitate the functioning of the scheme. We can conclude that education refers to educational programs aimed at adults who have completed their initial formal education and are seeking to further their knowledge and skills. It's often focused on professional development and lifelong learning. The scope and characteristics of the continuing education are: first one is professional development, courses and programs that help individuals maintain and enhance their professional skills, stay current with industry trends, and meet certification or licensing requirements. For examples, it includes continuing medical education for healthcare professionals and continuing legal education for lawyers. Workplace training, in-house training programs offered by employers to upgrade the skills of their workforce. This can include technical training, leadership development, and compliance training. Online learning. The rise of online platforms has made continuing education more accessible, offering courses, certificates, and even degrees that can be completed remotely. Executive education, specialized programs designed for business leaders, executives to enhance their strategic, management, and leadership skills. These are often offered by business schools and universities. Professional associations. Many professional organizations offer continuing education opportunities to their members through conferences, workshops, webinars, and courses. Objectives of the continuing education are skill enhancement. It helps professionals stay competitive and competent in their fields. Career advancement. It provides opportunities for career growth and advancement. Adaptation to change. It includes equipping individuals with the skills needed to adapt to changing technologies and market demands. And compliances. It ensures professionals meet ongoing certification and licensing requirements. Key differences and overlaps. First one is target audience, adult education. Broadly, target all adults, including those seeking basic education, vocational skills, personal development, and community engagement. Continuing education primary targets individuals who have already completed initial education and are seeking further professional development. And second one is focus. Adult education includes a wider range of educational needs from basic literacy to personal engagement. Continuing education focuses more on professional and career oriented learning and delivery. Adult education delivered through community colleges, non-profit organizations, and community centers. Continuing education often provided by universities, professional associations, and online learning platforms. Thank you, students.